There is a silent ache carried in the hearts of many. It is not spoken aloud, for fear it may sound ungrateful or absurd. Yet it whispers endlessly in the chambers of the soul. Why hasn't it happened for me? You've done the prayers. You've recited the affirmations. You've visualized, sacrificed, and sought answers in books, in sermons, in silence. And still, the delay remains. Money slips through your fingers like mist. Relationships leave you cold and wondering what you've done wrong. The doors seem to open for others, while you, faithful, diligent, spiritual, are left standing before gates that refuse to budge. You begin to question not only the law, but your very self. Dear listener, listen with the ears of your spirit. You were never denied. You were simply silent in the language the universe understands. Heaven does not respond to tears. It does not move at the sound of panic or desperation. It moves by law, immutable, impersonal, precise, and like any divine mechanism, it awaits a specific trigger. That trigger is a word, a sentence, a spiritual decree spoken not from fear, but from knowing. You see, the universe was not withholding your good. It was waiting for alignment. It was waiting for you to remember the truth of who you are, a child of divine source, an heir to infinite good, a creator cloaked in human skin, with power in your tongue and electricity in your thoughts. The law was not punishing you. It was protecting your future from your own doubt, waiting lovingly for you to rise. And here, now, today, through this message, you will rise. You will learn the sentence that changes your frequency, activates spiritual law, and magnetizes your desires into form. You will understand why your spoken word is your wand, how to stop chasing and start attracting, why delay is divine, and resistance is reversed through surrender, and how wealth, peace, and healing are not to be earned, but allowed. By the end of this journey, you will not beg for change. You will command it. You will speak one holy sentence, and the universe, angelic, mathematical, divine, will say at last, she remembers, and your life will begin to mirror the truth that was always within you. So I ask, not as a teacher, but as a fellow soul on the path, stay until the final word. For sometimes, the sentence that shifts your entire life is hidden in the last breath of revelation. If this message resonates with something buried deep within you, subscribe, not for my sake, but for yours. For reminders are medicine for the soul, and divine truth must be heard again and again until it is lived, now with reverence and holy expectation. In the great silence of the soul, there exists a waiting. Not the kind born of impatience, but the kind born of law. Just as a seed waits for the touch of sunlight, and the harp waits for the fingers of the musician, so too does the law of the universe wait for your declaration. Not your wish, not your worry, but your word. For the word is power. In the beginning was the word, the scripture declares, and the word was with God, and the word was God. This is no mere poetic verse. It is a metaphysical key. Everything that is created begins as a word, spoken or unspoken, whispered or shouted. Words are the spiritual blueprint of form. When you speak from fear, you create confusion. When you speak from faith, you release miracles. Most souls wander the earth in vague indecision, repeating phrases like, I hope so, or maybe one day, or I wish things were different. But these are not declarations. They are spiritual static. They carry no voltage. The law, divine, exact, impersonal, responds only to clarity and conviction. It awaits the moment you step into authority and say, I am aligned with the law of divine supply. My good now rushes to me under grace in perfect ways. When this sentence is spoken, not with trembling lips but with a knowing heart, it sends a vibrational command into the ethers. Heaven hears. The substance of spirit begins to organize. Invisible forces stir to attention, for you have spoken in the tongue of divine order. This is not arrogance, it is alignment, for you are not a beggar at the gates. You are the beloved of the infinite, and your word carries the signature of divine authorship. But beware, declarations made in doubt are like seeds cast on stone. You must speak and then believe, and then stand still, as the law works in silence. Your declaration is not a request, it is a release. It is the sound that unlocks locked doors. It is the turning of the key. It is you, finally claiming the spiritual inheritance that was written in the heavens before you took your first breath. And so I say unto you now, dear soul, speak not what you fear, speak only what you desire, wrapped in the garment of truth and embroidered with faith. The law awaits your declaration. Will you speak it? Every word you utter is a wand cast into the field of infinite potential. It either creates harmony or havoc. There is no neutral speech in the kingdom of spiritual law. Words are not mere sounds. They are containers of power, carriers of vibration, and builders of the invisible scaffolding upon which your world is hung. Your current life, every penny in your purse, every circumstance in your home, every face you encounter, is but the harvest of words spoken yesterday, last year, or even lifetimes ago. The subconscious mind, which is the builder of form, receives language not as poetry, but as instruction, and it obeys without question. If you say, "I can't afford that," or "nothing ever works out for me," the law says, so be it. The universe is not sentimental, it is lawful. It responds with precision to your vibration, and your vibration is largely determined by your habitual speech. Scripture tells us, "Thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee." Notice, it does not say wish for, hope about, or complain into the night. It says decree. That is, speak with authority. Declare with divine confidence. For your words are not empty, they are prophetic. You are always prophesying your future, whether you know it or not. The metaphysical truth is this: you are always speaking something into form. The question is, are you creating by default or by design? Idle chatter, sarcastic jests, and repeated complaints do not evaporate into the air. They imprint upon the ethers and return dressed in flesh and form. A careless word about money becomes a costly event. A passing comment about sickness becomes a lingering shadow. Yet, O glorious yet, a single word of divine truth, spoken with faith, can uproot years of miscreation and call forth healing, wealth, and transformation in a moment. So let your tongue become sacred. Let it no longer be a tool for gossip or self-pity, but a golden wand dipped in the oil of spirit. Speak only that which you desire to see. Speak blessings over your finances, even when your wallet is empty. Speak love into your relationships, even when silence echoes. Speak healing into your body, even when the pain remains. For what you persist in speaking, you eventually summon. Affirm daily, every word I speak builds my divine reality. I speak with love, wisdom, and authority. Let this be the new covenant of your lips. For words, dear soul, are wands, and the world you live in is nothing more than the magic you've already spoken. There is a secret key that unlocks the rhythm of the universe, and it is not force, it is flow. That key is non-resistance. Most people, without knowing, spend their days resisting the very blessings they have prayed for. They strive, they grip, they chase, and in doing so, they create friction in the spiritual current meant to carry them. You see, what you resist persists. What you fear, you feed. What you hold too tightly slips through the fingers of fate. This is not punishment, it is law. Resistance is simply fear dressed as control. It says, I must make this happen, I must force the outcome. But spirit moves not by pressure, but by surrender. Your good, like a river, flows where it is allowed, not where it is demanded. Non-resistance is not passive, it is powerful. It is not indifference, it is divine alignment. When you release the outcome, you tell the universe, I trust the timing, I trust the form, I trust that what is mine cannot pass me by. This level of spiritual trust is magnetic. It draws to you that which was already circling, waiting for the moment you would stop chasing and start allowing. Many delay their manifestations by grasping too tightly. They pray for wealth, but worry about rent. They ask for love, but brace for betrayal. They desire health, but rehearse illness with every breath. Such duality confuses the law. The universe reads your energy, not your words. If your speech says faith, but your aura says fear, it is your vibration that is obeyed. The solution is sacred surrender. Release your attachment to how and when. Say aloud, all things are now working together for my good. I rest in divine order. This is not inaction, it is inspired confidence. It is knowing that the law of God is never late, never absent, and never asleep. To live in non-resistance is to walk with open hands and a willing heart. It is to say, this or something better now manifests for me in perfect ways. It is to give your desires wings, not weights. When you step into this holy ease, what you once chased now turns and chases you. Let go, dear soul, not in defeat, but in power. For what you surrender to God returns multiplied. You cannot pour golden wine into a dusty vessel, nor expect roses to bloom in a garden choked with weeds. So it is with your life. Outer conditions are not the source, but the result. They are not the root, but the fruit. Every circumstance you behold with your eyes is but the reflection of your inner state. And until that inner terrain is renewed, no lasting change can occur on the outside. This is a truth often missed by the impatient soul. Many seek to rearrange the scenery of life without touching the script within. They chase wealth while rehearsing lack in the theater of their mind. They seek love while repeating ancient dialogues of unworthiness. They desire success while affirming silently, "It's too late for me," or "I always fail." The law is not fooled. It is just and it is perfect. It reflects back not what you beg for, but what you believe. Your inner world is the projector. Your outer world is the screen. It is not the job, the partner, or the number in your bank account that creates your vibration. It is your vibration that determines what appears in those domains. And that vibration is shaped by your self-concept. If you still see yourself as poor, wounded, overlooked, or unlucky, no amount of effort will permanently lift you out of the conditions matching that identity. You may have moments of improvement, flashes of provision or temporary relief, but unless the inner image is healed, the outer world will always regress to match it. Transformation begins in the silence. It begins in the temple of the soul, where you ask the sacred question, "Who am I, truly?" And from that holy inquiry arises the divine answer, "I am the radiant child of God, infused with wisdom, power, and unshakable good. I am not my past. I am not my patterns. I am who God says I am, and God says I am whole, loved, and richly supplied." It is from this inner renewal that all manifestation flows. This is not mere positive thinking. It is divine remembering. When you change how you see yourself, you alter the entire magnetic field around you. People respond differently. Opportunities surface. Delay vanishes. For the world does not meet you as you are. It meets you as you believe you are. The caterpillar does not beg the universe for wings. It becomes what it was always destined to be. And so too must you shed the old shell of limitation and clothe yourself in the new identity of spiritual wholeness. Say to yourself daily, "I no longer chase change. I become change. I see myself as God sees me, abundant, radiant, unstoppable." Then watch, yes, watch how the universe, like a faithful servant, rushes to confirm your new image. People you once struggled to impress will suddenly admire you. Doors once shut will unlock with ease. Why? Because you have changed the source, the self from which all else flows. Until the inner changes, the outer cannot remain. But once the inner is made new, the outer must obey. For the universe, dear soul, is your echo, and it always returns what you first speak in silence. Between every desire and its manifestation, there exists a sacred bridge, and that bridge is faith, not blind belief, not trembling hope, but radiant, immovable, soul-deep faith. It is the divine knowing that what is unseen is more real than what is seen. It is the inner posture that says, "I do not yet behold it with my eyes, but I know, in truth, it is already mine." Faith is the spiritual muscle that carries your thoughts across the invisible realm and anchors them into form. Without it, ideas remain dreams, visions remain shadows, and prayers drift unanswered. Not because God has withheld, but because the channel was never completed. Your thought is the blueprint, your faith is the builder, and your word is the activation. All three must be united to birth a new reality. So many speak in affirmations, yet do not walk in assurance. They declare wealth, yet worry by night. They speak health, but nurse fear in secret. They plant seeds of desire, but dig them up daily with doubt. And then they say, "Why has it not come to pass?" But how can it, when the bridge was never walked? Scripture says, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Substance, beloved. That means faith is not a feeling, it is a spiritual material. It is as real as wood and stone. It builds the unseen architecture of your life and prepares a place for your answered prayer to dwell. If you can hold it in faith, you shall hold it in hand. True faith is joyous. It does not beg or bargain. It gives thanks in advance. It walks as though the blessing has already arrived, and in doing so, it draws the blessing near. Gratitude is the sound of faith, and praise is its music. When you sing songs of thankfulness before the harvest, you prove yourself ready for the rain. Affirm with power, I walk by faith, not by sight. What is mine in spirit shall manifest in form, by divine right and in perfect time. Faith does not demand signs, it gives them. Faith does not wait for proof, it becomes the proof. It is the quiet fire within you that says, I know whom I have believed, and I know all things are now working together for my good. When the winds rise and appearances deceive, stand in faith. When all seems still and heaven silent, stand in faith. For it is often in the invisible moment, the quiet breath between what was and what will be, that the miracle is set in motion. Do not fear the silence. Walk the bridge. Trust the unseen hand that has never failed you. For once you cross in faith, what you longed for will meet you on the other side. Impatience is the child of fear, but peace is the daughter of trust. And trust, dear soul, is the very marrow of manifestation. Many walk through life frustrated, burdened by what has not yet come. They say, I have done the work, I have spoken the word, I have believed, and still nothing. But hear this truth, and let it settle deep within your spirit. Delay is not denial, it is divine preparation. The law never forgets. The moment your word is spoken in alignment with truth, the wheels of heaven begin to turn. But heaven does not operate on your clock, it operates on divine order. There are blessings that, if delivered too soon, would crush you under the weight of your unreadiness. There are doors that must remain closed until the ground beneath your feet is strong enough to carry the blessing behind them. The oak does not resent the acorn stage. It knows its roots must deepen before it reaches the sky. Often you are not waiting for the blessing. The blessing is waiting for you. Waiting for your vibration to match your vision. Waiting for you to release the old so you can receive the new. Waiting for you to grow into the version of yourself that can hold what you have asked for without fear, sabotage, or shame. God is not a cruel trickster dangling your good like a carrot. God is the master weaver, aligning people, places, timing, and preparation into a divine choreography that cannot be rushed without ruining its beauty. When you trust this process, truly trust, it creates a peace that surpasses understanding, and this peace itself is a magnet. For nothing attracts your good faster than a heart at rest in divine timing. Say aloud with deep reverence, my blessing is on schedule. I trust the unseen. I rest in the perfect rhythm of divine order. Stop watching the clock. Stop comparing your journey to others. Some rise quickly and fall just as fast. But those who are rooted in divine timing rise with grace and stay risen. There is a holy timing upon your life, and it is unfolding now, whether you see it or not. You must stop pushing and start preparing. Set your table. Open the windows of your home. Decorate your spirit with praise. Act as though the blessing were already on its way, for in truth, it is. And when it arrives, as it surely shall, you will smile and whisper, it came at the perfect time. Because it always does. Imagination is not child's play. It is not fantasy or idle dreaming. It is the very workshop of the divine within you. The realm of imagination is where form is first conceived, and from which all reality is born. What you continually picture in the silence of your mind, you invite into the stage of your life. For the soul speaks in pictures, and the subconscious, your faithful servant, receives those images as blueprints and begins to build. It matters not whether the image is lovely or fearful, joyful or dreadful. The law does not discriminate. It only creates. If you imagine disaster, you set a table for it. If you rehearse loss in your inner theater, loss will find its way to your door. But if you fill your mental galleries with visions of success, peace, healing, love, and abundance, then these too shall come to dwell with you. For imagination is not passive, it is prophetic. Too many wander through life enslaved by involuntary imagery. They replay past traumas. They mentally rehearse the worst outcomes. They let their minds become dark rooms where fear develops. But you, dear soul, are called to higher mastery. You are not the victim of your imagination. You are its sovereign author. You may direct it, shape it, elevate it. For what you command in the inner world must by law express in the outer. Scripture speaks this truth gently and eternally. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, not merely in his mind, but in his heart. That is, in the depth of belief fused with imagination. Therefore, imagine only what you desire to live. Do not imagine lack and call it realism. Do not imagine sickness and call it responsibility. Imagine abundance, wholeness, joy. reconciliation. Imagine with intensity. Imagine with feeling. Feel the result as if it were already true, and by the law it shall become so. Affirm with sacred certainty, I now see only what I wish to live. My imagination is a vessel of divine vision. What I picture with faith, I welcome with joy. Imagination is how you pray without words. It is how you signal to the heavens what you are ready to receive. And the universe, faithful as ever, responds to the vision more than the voice. So guard your inner sanctuary. Fill your thoughts with that which is lovely, noble, and good. Let your imagination become your sanctuary, not your battlefield. For what you imagine with conviction, you command into form. And the life you dream with clarity today shall walk beside you tomorrow. There comes a moment in every soul's journey when all the teachings, all the prayers, all the quiet inner revolutions gather themselves into a single spark, a sentence, a holy decree, one line spoken not with the lips alone, but with the fire of certainty from the heart. That one sentence becomes the signal flare to the universe, saying, I remember who I am. You see, the law has always been listening. Heaven has not been deaf to your desires. The angels have stood watch by your dreams. But the universe, majestic and obedient, does not move by longing, it moves by law. And law requires activation. That activation is a statement, a bold, unwavering declaration of spiritual alignment. It is the moment when you stop asking and start allowing, when you cease seeking and begin claiming, when you no longer speak of becoming, but of being. That sentence, dear soul, the one the universe was waiting for you to say all along, is this: I am now ready to receive all that is mine by divine right, with ease, joy, and perfect timing. Let the weight of that truth settle into your bones. Say it slowly. Let each word rise from your belly and not just your tongue. For when you speak it in true alignment, not with fear, but with divine remembrance, the very fabric of reality begins to shift. The grids rearrange, delays dissolve. That which seemed far off accelerates. For the law, though eternal, waits upon the awakened soul. This sentence is not magic, it is mastery. It declares that you have released resistance, that you are no longer trying to force the door open, but have become the key itself, that you have stepped out of the consciousness of lack and into the holy current of receptivity. The universe, like a faithful servant, can now do its work, unobstructed by your doubt. Speak it daily. Speak it when you rise and when you lie down. Speak it when fear knocks and when hope flickers. Speak it until the echo of it reshapes your subconscious, until your every cell vibrates with permission, until your outer world bows in agreement. Affirm now with sacred certainty, I am now ready to receive all that is mine by divine right, with ease, joy, and perfect timing. I do not chase, I do not beg, I allow, I receive, I rejoice. For when you speak from alignment, the universe answers. And when you declare readiness, blessings arrive, on wings, not chains. You were never waiting on the universe, beloved. The universe was waiting on you. Dear soul, here is the capstone of all manifestation. Speak the word, and walk as one who has already received. For every spoken word, tinged with belief and wrapped in divine expectancy, sets the law in motion. There is no true faith where there is delay in the spirit. One must step forth as if the prayer has already been answered. Just as the sun does not ask permission to rise, so must you rise in your own power, knowing that what you have spoken in alignment with the divine mind is already seeking you. The word is the womb of creation. It is not empty babble, but divine substance, the invisible clay from which the seen world is shaped. Thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee, saith the Scripture. And so it is not in begging or pleading that the kingdom is entered, but in the bold decree of the one who knows she is already favored by heaven. Walk with the posture of one who knows her supply is inexhaustible. Take actions in accordance with answered prayer. If you've declared that your business shall prosper, then begin your day not with doubt, but with divine order. Dress with joy, open your door, and act as though the windows of heaven have already poured out their blessing. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you believe you already are. And when your belief and your embodiment match your spoken word, manifestation must obey, for the law cannot be broken. The universe is a mirror, beloved. Show it lack, and it reflects more lack. Show it royalty, and behold your crown. Say aloud, divine substance now flows through me, and every desire of my heart is now fulfilled. I walk in full assurance, for my supply, my peace, my love is already at hand. Ah, beloved traveler upon the sacred path of truth, if you have come this far with an open heart and a willing spirit, know that the heavens rejoice. For every soul that awakens, the entire universe shifts, like a rose that blooms in the garden of divine order. Let it be known, the true transformation does not lie in outer conditions, nor in the fleeting rewards of this visible world. It begins within, with the renewal of thought, the purifying of speech, the sanctifying of belief. You have now been given the keys, not of silver or gold, but of consciousness, and they unlock the doors to all that is rightfully yours. Divine health, radiant relationships, overflowing abundance, and a soul steeped in peace. These are not distant blessings. They are already formed in the invisible, awaiting only the mighty word. Speak the word, child of the infinite. Speak it boldly. Speak it consistently. Speak it with the fiery faith of one who knows that the battle is not theirs, but the Lord's, and it is already won. Declare, all that is mine by divine right now manifests in perfect timing, under grace, in a magical way. And it shall be so. Trust not appearances, for they are but the dust of doubt. Walk instead by inner light, for it is written, Thy word is a lamp unto my feet. The universe is not against you. It is orchestrating, aligning, unfolding like a celestial tapestry, all in response to your deepest conviction. Trust not appearances, for they are but the dust of doubt. Walk instead by inner light, for it is written, Thy word is a lamp unto my feet. The universe is not against you. It is orchestrating, aligning, unfolding like a celestial tapestry, all in response to your deepest conviction. And now, as you close this sacred lesson, I ask you to plant the seeds of truth with your own lips. I no longer chase. I magnetize. I no longer beg. I expect. I no longer fear. I know. For knowing is the highest form of believing, and belief, when purified, becomes law. Remain faithful to the vibration of your word, for the spoken word, when aligned with the divine, becomes a spiritual decree, and no law of man nor shadow of circumstance can stand against it. You are no longer a mere seeker. You are a speaker of power, a vessel of the light, an instrument of divine fulfillment. And so I say unto you, go forth in love, and watch the crooked places made straight. Watch the mountains of fear dissolve. Watch the supply come rushing in. Watch miracles, not once but daily, until you say, as I have said many times, nothing is too good to be true. Nothing is too wonderful to happen. Nothing is too good to last. The universe was never against you. It was waiting for you to say this one sentence,